A lot of people on this planet have very, very powerful gifts. And the thing with these gifts that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video is that sometimes we can turn these gifts into a curse. We can perceive these gifts as a curse when the truth is that these are not curses at all. These are powerful gifts that you can use to change the world. You can use them to change your life. You can use them to fully step into your power, and all you have to do is be conscious of them, conscious of why they're there, how to harness them, and actually use them to create your reality. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 gifts that every single empath has, and sometimes these gifts are actually turned into perceived curses, which they're not. They're not curses, they are gifts. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me personally one-on-one, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So you got to realize a lot of people on this planet consider themselves to be an empath. Now, what is an empath? An empath is just a highly conscious being, a highly developed being. A person that is extremely conscious and very connected to the present moment, very sensitive, very aware. And so what that does is that can actually make you think that you have a curse when really you have divine wisdom within you that brings along certain gifts in your life. And people can actually turn this into a curse simply because they don't know that they're conscious and they don't know how to harness this consciousness. And the irony is powerful because they are not conscious of the fact of how conscious they are. And then they think that they're regular like other people. They think that they're just like everyone else when they're not. They are very special, they're very conscious, and they're here for a specific reason on the planet to change the world with powerful gifts, yet they turn it into a curse. Now, the first gift that every single empath has is a high sensitivity to emotion. A very high sensitivity to emotion, because you got to realize when you're highly conscious, now I just want to say highly conscious doesn't necessarily mean that you're better than anybody else. Yes, you're special. Yes, you're more aware. Yes, you're more conscious. Yes, you are highly sensitive to emotions, but that doesn't make you better than anybody else, because in this universe, we're all equal. We're all one and we're all the same at a universal level. Maybe there's minor differences at the ego level, but that doesn't mean that you're better than anybody else. It just means that you are more conscious, and that also means that you are highly sensitive to emotions. Now, this can be perceived as a curse. Why? Because you can actually, as an empath, take on other people's energy. And when I say can, sometimes it's not up to you. You can do it consciously if you have the right boundaries in place, but this is where it can turn into a curse as well, because if you don't have the right boundaries in place, you'll literally be taking on other people's energy unconsciously without realizing it. So as an empath, you're going to be holding on to other people's energy, maybe without even realizing it. You are a highly sensitive being. So it's very important to have boundaries, because without boundaries, you're going to have an issue with taking on way too much energy that you're not ready to process. And that can be a serious issue. So if you're an empath, one of the gifts that you have is you're highly sensitive to emotions. You're thinking, Francis, how is that a gift? That's a curse. No, that's a gift because you are more aware of people's traumas. You can actually help people heal traumas. As an empath, you're so powerful that a career path that's perfect for you is to be a coach or counseling of some kind or an artist. As an empath, we are here to change the world in a powerful way. We are here to bring awareness to other people's lack of awareness. So the reason you're so sensitive to other people's emotions is because you're sensitive to your own emotions. So when people are in your presence, you're now bringing consciousness to their unconsciousness. And when you bring consciousness to some other people's unconsciousness, that makes them get triggered, first of all. So that's totally normal. If you're an empath, people are going to get triggered in your presence all the time. That's completely normal. You're literally raising people's consciousness just by them being in your presence. Now, what you're going to understand is that people are going to feel certain emotions. And if you're in their presence, you are going to feel those emotions as well. You're literally going to feel their emotions. So you have to be very conscious of which energy you decide to engage with. Now, this can be a gift if you have the right boundaries in place. Without the right boundaries in place, that's when it can turn into what people think is a curse. But the truth is that if you have the right boundaries in place, you can heal people, you can help people, you can help lift people up to your level of vibration. But if you don't have boundaries, now what happens is that you're stuck in other people's worlds, you're taking trauma that's not yours, and then you get trapped. You get trapped in the external world. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to let that go as well. And it's just about having boundaries. That's all it is. If you have the right boundaries in place, you don't feel guilty for having those boundaries. Now you're in your power. Now you're actually much more connected with who you really are. And you don't have to feel so drained by other people's energy, because the only reason you feel drained and you think that this is a curse is because you lack boundaries. That's all it is. When I created boundaries, I realized that my sensitivity is not a curse, it's a gift. And this is what I use in my coaching. This is what I use when I help people. This is what I use to understand people. This is what I use to be compassionate to people. This is what I use to have a deeper understanding of people and who they really are beyond my conceptual understanding of who they are, but who they really are. Connect with their emotions. You have an ability to connect with people at a deep emotional level, deep intimacy that people can't have. You have an ability to connect deeply to life that other people do not have. And that can be a curse, or it can be a powerful gift depending on the boundaries that you lay in your life. So the second gift that every single empath has is you have what I call heart-based alignment. This means that when you reach a certain level as an empath, you're not going to tolerate living a life that you don't want to live. You're not going to tolerate living a life for somebody else. You're not going to tolerate living a life that you don't actually prefer to live into. You're not going to tolerate living a life that you do not enjoy. You're not going to tolerate a life for someone else. You are going to have heart-based alignment. This means that you're going to create life on your terms. You're going to create the life that you really want to live, because your consciousness is at such a high level that you will not tolerate anything that does not give yourself love. So you're not going to be in a job that you hate if you're an empath. You won't take that. Not from a judgmental perspective where you hate anybody else, but just because you love yourself. And this is going to sound cliche, but literally higher level of consciousness means higher level of self-love. That's the same thing. They're not exactly the same, but they're directly correlated with each other, okay? Now, if you have a high level of consciousness, if you're at a high sensitivity level, you also have more self-love, which means that you're going to be aligned with your heart, and you're not going to be living only at the logical level. Because what most people do is they live life only at the logical level, and what that does is that brings them into career paths that they don't enjoy. This brings them into relationships that they don't truly enjoy in their heart, because it's logical to keep these things around. But the truth is that logic is a barrier sometimes. One of the biggest barriers is the mind. The mind is a barrier. And when you're an empath, you're aligned with your heart more. You take more action that's based on your intuition. You still use your logic. In fact, as an empath, your logic is enhanced and more crystal clear and not always clouded in fear. Of course, only if you have boundaries in place and you're not taking on other people's fear. But if you have the right boundaries in place, you actually have a powerful foundation to be aligned with your heart and to create the life that you really want. This is going to allow you to live the best life possible. You can only live a powerful life when you're aligned with your heart. When you follow your heart, you live the life that is meant for you. Sounds cliche, but it's the truth. And when you're an empath, you have what I call heart-based alignment, life on your terms, not just financially, which always happens as an empath. When you align with your heart, finances are not going to be an issue for you if you align with your heart long enough and you follow that direction. Okay, that's how it worked in my life. I followed my heart. Didn't happen at first. Can't say it's going to happen quickly. But if you follow your heart and you keep on that mission of consciousness and you keep staying focused, you're going to figure out a way to not only have financial abundance in your life, which is a part of it, but the more important part of it, which is not just the financial abundance, is the energetic abundance that you have when you have the right boundaries in place, which then the finances usually come after. You got to realize, as an empath, you have to create boundaries to keep your energy levels high. And when you're aligned with your heart, you have the energy to fully enjoy your life, to fully be connected, something that finances can't give you, something that can only be experienced and felt. And when you're an empath, you're going to feel into that energy more and be extremely connected to the present moment, which will lead you down a career path that's meant for you, which will lead you down a career path that you are meant to follow. Not what somebody else wants for you, but what you actually want. That's the gift of an empath, is that they will not tolerate living a life that they don't actually enjoy. Because when your consciousness is too high, not in a judgmental way or an egotistical way, when your consciousness is too high, you actually will not tolerate a certain level of pain. And when I say pain, I mean self-inflicted pain. Pain sometimes is something that comes up in life, but not pain that you inflict on yourself, a lack of self-love. So think about it like this. If you love yourself enough, will you be in a job that you hate? Absolutely not. This is why most people are in careers that they hate, because they don't have enough self-love. But if you're an empath, that just means you have a higher level of self-love, which means that you're going to be aligned with your heart. You're going to be perfectly in alignment with the abundance that you're meant to live into, and to live the life that you really should be living. Not that you should be living anything, but the life that your soul really wants to live into. You see, this is not about shoulds or have tos. This is about what do you want? And that's what you're gonna have as an empath, is to go after what you want, what you feel is right for you, using the logic, in fact, enhanced logic, but what feels right to you. Now, the third gift that every single empath has is full authenticity and expression. So you ever see people that are very fake? You ever see people that aren't expressive? Yeah, that's because their ego is controlling their life and they're not fully aligned in the present moment. When you're an empath, you're not going to be fake. You're not going to be living a lie. You're not going to be living a life of deception or corruption or lack of awareness. You're going to be a fully authentic and expressive person. And what you're going to do is you're always going to share the truth. Now, some empaths, it's hard for them to share the truth. This is where it can become a curse again, because they don't want to share how they feel. But if you align and you actually share the truth without filters, what's going to happen is that that's going to turn into a gift, not a curse. It could be a curse if you're afraid to share the truth. That's when you have all this trapped energy in the body. That's when you're not connected with who you are. And that's when you're holding in and repressing emotions that is turning it into a curse, when really you have a powerful gift that is not a curse at all. So what you're going to understand is that as an empath, you're going to have the ability to share the truth and be fully expressive, and people are going to feel that. People are going to feel that you are actually not fake. You're not wearing a mask. You're fully expressive. You're fully connected to the present moment, and you're fully sharing how you really feel in the present moment with no filters, no being fake. That is a powerful gift. This is going to create powerful connections with other human beings. This is going to create powerful, intimate relationships. This is going to create real, authentic, powerful connection, and also influence over people, because you can't control people, but you can influence them and inspire them and lift them up. And when you're an empath, you have that gift to inspire, to influence, to have a powerful energy where you can share with people the truth. Not always the truth that they want to hear, but sometimes the truth that people need to hear. Sometimes they want to hear it too. Other times you have to share your truth even when you don't feel like it, even when they don't want to hear it, but they need to hear it to grow. That is the gift that you have as an empath. You have the ability to share the truth at all costs, and it's always going to be for the win-win. It may temporarily seem like a win-lose or a lose-win or a lose-lose, but when you share the truth as an empath, that's always the win-win. That's the win-win dynamic coming into play. That is you winning and the person winning. Even if that person seems like they're losing because you told them the truth, in the long run, you're putting that person in their power. The worst thing you can do is lie to a person. The worst thing you can do is not tell the truth. That is going to not honor you, but also not honor that person as well. That's a disservice to both sides. So the key is actually to always tell the truth as an empath. And this cannot be a curse at all if you just fully own it. Fully own your truth as an empath. That's the key as an empath, is to be fully owning your gifts. Fully own. These 3 things that I shared with you are only curses when you don't fully own it. So fully own that you're highly sensitive. Either be there for somebody or don't. Create a boundary. The second thing, heart-based alignment. Fully own your path and what your heart tells you that you want to do. Fully own that. It's going to be a very powerful curse if you don't follow your heart. That's the curse, is that you're so conscious, but you're still living a job that you shouldn't be in. That's when it turns into a curse. These 3 things can turn into very, very powerful curses if you don't fully own who you are as an empath, as a conscious being. If you just fully own it, you're going to live the best life possible. But a lot of empaths do not fully own who they really are. They don't fully own their connectedness to the present moment. They don't fully own not the attachment to the identity of an empath, but just the fact that you are extremely conscious. Own it. Stay connected to that. Don't live a life for somebody else. Don't not own that sensitivity. Own it fully. Either be in conversation or don't be. Be there for somebody or lay the boundary. Follow your heart. If you don't follow your heart, that's going to be the biggest curse you live in your life, and you're going to be conscious of it the whole time, knowing deep in your heart that you could be living your best life. That is the gift of an empath. That can also be a curse. Also, full authenticity and expression. If you don't share the truth as an empath, that is going to weigh down on your shoulders for such a long period of time until finally the truth comes out. Whether the universe pushes you to force the truth, or you finally have the courage and the willingness to just share. So you have to understand that as an empath, you are an extremely powerful being. And if you own these 3 gifts, you are going to live an extremely powerful life. So that's all I have for this video. As always, if you want to work with me one-on-one, hit the link that's in the description box of this video. Also, if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.